So well, in our previous tutorial of Photoshop, we learned how to remove backgrounds from photos, any photo in Photoshop. So in this tutorial, this is a continuation of the previous tutorial where we learned how to edit out backgrounds from our photos. So if you didn't watch the first tutorial of this same tutorial, of the part 2 of this tutorial, or the part 1 of this second tutorial, I want you to go to the description down there. I want you to check. You will see the link and you can click onto it and you can go to our first tutorial and then learn how to remove the backgrounds from the photos, and then you can come back to this, or you can combine all the knowledge and then you'll be with us on this web page. So what we're going to do now, we saw in our last step that we had removed the background from this image with our last step, which was the quick selection tool. So now we are going to see how to create magical backgrounds, or backgrounds, put backgrounds onto our cartoon man here. So let us dive right into this. So in the first place, what we are going to do, we are going to have to create a new layer. And what we are going to do, we are going to create a color background in our swatch. So what we do, we go to the swatches up here and we are going to give it a color. So the shortcut for applying the color onto our layer, so after selecting the color into the swatch, so we are going to hold click Alt and delete. Hold click Alt and delete such that the color can be applied onto the layer, and then you are good to go. So this is a basic color that we choose from the swatches, and then we are good to go onto giving it the color or giving it the gradient. We double click the layer and the dialog box opens. This dialog box that opens, so we can see what we do, what we're going to do. This is what we call the layer style dialog box. So when it opens, you see it has a number of layer styles that you can work on in order you want to twist or do any edits to any layer that is selected. So what we are going to simply do, or to select into this layer style, as you see, we are going to select what we call the gradient overlay. So in selecting the gradient overlay, this is what we call the gradient overlay. So you basically tick it, make sure that it is checked with a tick, and possibly you see a gradient is applied onto our background that we created in the first place. So this is a gradient that I possibly had into my settings. So I had done it several times back, so it was already saved. So the last gradient that you edit on, it is saved by Photoshop. It keeps on as the last time or the next reminder to when you are going to apply the next background. So what we're going to do, we are going to change this gradient and we give it a gradient that possibly we shall work out on this tutorial. So what we simply do, we go to click, we double click the gradient color, and another box opens. On this box, this is where we are going to change the colors. We twist the colors respectively according to the way you see on these swatches here of the gradients. So change the color, so we give it a black, and then we also give it a gray onto the other side, so on the opposite sides of the color swatches. So now we are good to go. So this is the color that we are going to work on with a black and a gray color gradient. Yes, so we are going to create some gradient. So what we do, we come to gradient overlay. So we go to style, we have the angular, and we have the reflected. So this is reflected, and we also have the diamond. But let's look at the radical. So check out this radical one, and what we do, we try to increase its scale. Yes, its scale, and you can either move it into positions. So yes, give it an angle. And you can probably give it and it somehow. Yeah. So hit OK, and then so you'll see we have some gradient. You can do this with any other color. So you can change colors, you can do reflected. For example, if I want use this and probably this as some soft. So if you want something like this, okay. Oh well, you can change backgrounds. You can do anything you want with the gradient layer by double clicking and angular or reflected. So with the reflected, so here this is how we choose the angle of the reflection. You want it reflected from which angle? From, you can also extend this. Yes, so yeah, look at this also, looks a little bit cool. So we are changing the angle right here, this. So that's how you do create some good backgrounds. You can even fancy them more by adding more shapes and creating dimension, and you give work. You can even put some shadows. So when you double click this, go to shadows, let's create drop shadows. So you can add the shadow depending on the light. So let us first work on this and see how we can create shadows. So let's go back to this background. and we need something which is linear. We choose linear, yeah, linear. So with a linear shadow, we want it, so we shall assume that light is casting from which direction? So light casts from this direction. Okay, we see the direction of the light. So if light is casting from up, down, so basically what we do, we have a shadow here. So light, so probably so yes, there. Okay. So we shall put our shadow, drop shadow. So let's look at the settings for changing our shadow. This, so the distance, change the distance. You see that the distance, the more higher you go, the more the distance. So there is the spread. So we also have the size. So this one blurs out the shadow, give it some depth. So let's say so give it a direction. So let us assume our shadow is in this side and our light is casting from this area, from the top of this area, casting through this format. So I'll give you a simple, so showing this is our shadow. So our light, so let's hope our light is casting through this. So when the light is casting in this angle, so the shadow, place the shadow around this area. So that means this part won't have a shadow. The shadow will be by this side. So we do these lines. So the same applies if the shadow is casting. So if the light is casting via this area, so that means the shadow will be via this side. Yeah. So that is it in this tutorial. So you can do more research about this. So use your styles, use everything, the colors, and you can make wonderful backgrounds for your photos. You can remove the background from the photo and then put some other background you want. Create those backgrounds, and then you're good to go with your photos. So yeah, maybe what we are going to do, let us see how we can save our document, because that is the last thing that we didn't talk about. So we go to file. When you go to file, let us assume the file. So this is our file. You can save your document from the save and probably go to where we saved our, come here. So let's give this a background removal gradient tutorial, let's call it. Let's just call it photo edit. So you may want to save it in Photoshop PSD format. So I'll show you straight to this. So when you save this document as the PSD, you're saving it for Photoshop, so it will always open in Photoshop. So when you save it as a PDF, we have the Photoshop PDF. So yes, which is Photoshop PDF. So which is this Photoshop PDF. So with this you can view this file in Illustrator, and you can probably print it out as a PDF or create a PDF version of it. So you can open it on your phone, PDF readers or anything. So for now we need it in the PSD format. So save, and you'll see down here it saves down here. So this is our resolution of the photo, that is 772 pixels. So now we saved the document. Now we are going to export the photo. So go to export the photo, go back to the files, and then go to export and say export as PNG. If you want to save it as a PNG, you go to this. If you want to save it as JPEG, so you go to save as. So let's go to file, saving it as JPEG, go to this, and probably it will open our. So this takes time depending on to the processing of your computer, but it is worth it. So you see it is loading. So we have to explore this all. So you come to this format here where it says the format, change the format to JPEG, and then if it's with JPEG doesn't produce images without in transparent, because it's PNG that gives you transparent background. If at all you remove the background and you want to save it with a transparent background, so come to here, say JPEG, and so here you can change the resolution, its resolution, or the size of it. So these are the sizes, but I will have it there. So which is this 2K is 2K. So you come to save or export. So give it photo edit result and save. So saves, and then it will appear into our folder here. This has already saved. So if you want to save it as a PNG, so PNG is portable network graphics. So PNG is usually for screen. Any photo that you want to save to be viewed on screen, save it in PNG. It is the wonderful format to save in for anything you want to view on phone or screen. But you can save a JPEG if you want it for printing. You want to take a photo for printing, or you want to print it and hang it onto your wall. So save it in JPEG. So what you do, come to export, so go to quick, export. You realize even here you can save a PNG, but also this is the most quickest. So call it result 2. So save it, and yeah, it therefore comes. It is saved PNG. So we have JPEG and PNG save around here. So this here PNG. So we have a PNG file. See the item type PNG file 2K, and we have the JPEG file. That is it in this tutorial. It has been brief, but I hope it is useful. So for those who want to know how we came to this procedure of selecting out a background from this photo, yeah, remember to go to the description. There is a link. You can go straight to it, or at the close of this video. So just check at this video here. Yeah, at this side, this video around here, and you will see, click onto it and you will go straight to see how we cut out the background from this photo, and then you'll be good to go. Remember to subscribe if you're new viewer to this channel, and hit that like button, comment, share ideas, and also ask any question. We shall answer it straight. That is it. So thank you for watching. So let's meet into another next tutorial. Bye bye.